So, you are on set for Casking Classics. Welcome to the first round of the Edrington Roadshow for you guys. Casking Classics is all about celebrating creativity. So, with the Glenn Rothis, we're trying to focus on knowledge, courage, community, and opportunities. And we want to showcase professions that have gone through similar situations as the brand. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on adversity. Obviously, with the Glenn Rothis, if you guys have been educated on it, you know that Glenn Rothis has gone through a ton of adversity, as has the stand-up comedy community in New York. So we're going to run through a history of New York with two highly talented comedians. We have Mr. Yannis Pappas, and we have Mr. Paul Virzi. Welcome, Yannis. Welcome, Paul.
What's up, buddy? Yeah. How you guys doing? Nice to be here. This is like a little intimate meeting. I like this. I like the seats.
Yannis and Paul both are born and raised in New York.
Well, you could tell by the yeah, man. We got the chains out. Yeah, we don't look like we're from Wisconsin.
Stand-up comedy is amazing. I love it. Love coming here. The stand has always been so good to all of our brands here, and you guys are doing God's work and making people laugh, and everyone needs a reason to laugh, right?
Yeah.
And I love how they all started out, like with the vaudeville shows. I'm a Coney Island guy, grew up in Bay Ridge, love going to Coney Island, so you have the old school style shows out there, Strongman. But in the 20s, that's where stand-up comedy started like moving up in the world, right? The Palace Theater was the first person to introduce someone to change acts instead of doing like the awkward signs. And they started like making fun of a few people. And that was like kind of how the shtick came up. But right there is when 1927, the Great Depression happens, right? And film starts in that same year, and people stray away from the theaters, and they start going into movie theaters. So to see film, it was cheaper. And stand-up comedians or anyone in hospitality and theater had to go to radio. So kind of similar to the situations that we found ourselves in the last 2 years, right? And you guys adapted perfectly. Like, Paul, you started... How much has your following grown in the last?
Well, for me, when I was telling you, like, the one thing that I didn't really focus on before pandemic was an online presence, a digital presence more, because I was so focused on getting better at stand-up. Stand-up was my love. I got in this business to do stand-up, not to be a radio host, right? So everybody was focused on that, and I'm like, but the world was adapting, and people wanted to watch that more, and I realized, so I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'm up here in Westchester. I got a garage. I got little rooms off my garage. Fuck it, let's make a
bragging,
studio.
Jesus
Christ.
Well,
you live in Westchester, too. Yeah.
Four-car garage. A little space.
Yeah, but I'm in Westchester. I'm doing okay, all right?
Doing all right.
Fuck it, I'm going to brag. I'm in Westchester. This place is a shithole. Fuck this city. I'm fucking never driving the I'm not coming. It's over down here. It's over. Subways, it's crime-ridden. Fuck everybody. I just get out of here, and I go where people have money. But, no, that's actually true. But anyway, like, I'm not even joking. I just get in the car, and I just get, the further away I get. I'll never be on a fucking subway in this filthy city again, I promise you, and neither will my children. But that being said, yeah, fuck de Blasio. You understand? He fucking owes us. I'm kidding. Imagine this just turned into a rant, a political rant. No, so I had a little room off of my garage, and I was like, let me make it a studio. I'm going to make it a podcast studio. So I did that, built it, got my podcast, The Virzi Effect, visible on YouTube, built the YouTube channel, put more clips on a YouTube channel, more of the Zoom podcast on a YouTube channel, and people saw my special, which I did in 2018. People were like, oh, this is one of the best specials I've seen in 2020. I'm like, yeah, it was done years ago, but people didn't see it. So then I just adapted that way, and it changed everything, because you had to do it digitally. Internet is a huge thing. You had to combine both, and I learned that.
And you turned an adverse situation into an opportunity. And you were doing the same thing. You started traveling a little bit.
He was doing it before almost anybody, and was saying it, and it was like, and he was putting clips out there. Fuck that, his more recent clips that he used to. Fuck, that was like 10 years prior, right?
Yeah. No, the internet has taken over. It's changed everything, you know. And it's like that old expression, only the strong survive, isn't really accurate. It's like the adage, but it's really like that means those who adapt to change the best survive. So it's a completely new environment for us, and now it's completely culminated, but it has been approaching for a long time, and I think COVID was what made it finally hit its like complete fruition. It came to complete fruition where comics realized, like, if I don't have an online presence, if I don't have a podcast, if I'm not, putting content on my Instagram page every day, then I don't exist. It's like, think about Donald Trump. He was like existed, and now he doesn't because they took away his Twitter accounts.
No.
So if you're not online, then you just don't exist.
But that's a good, because if we get on stage in front of 500 people or 1,000 people and kill, that's all and it just stays there. But if you get clips of that and you get bits on that, and now all of a sudden everybody, even internationally, sees it, then it's a total game changer.
It's a complete paradigm shift
Yeah.
that now is accepted. It's the Tonight Show means nothing. Like, I might even if they called me, I'd be like, I don't want to do it. Like, and that sounds like I'm exaggerating, but it's the truth. I mean, all it is good for is a tape on the internet.
And it used to be that was the goal of stand-up comedians in New York. And then Carson moves to L.A., and it's like, what do we do? And if you're a stand-up comedian in New York, that avenue was taken away. The clubs are still there.
Yeah, if you read why Conan O'Brien stopped doing the show, he stopped doing the show because it had like 100,000 people. All of the stuff that he was doing were the highlights of it on the internet, and he was just like, why am I doing this? The studio, I might as well just. And now he's doing a podcast. So it's like, it's what happened.
The TV numbers they're low.
Yeah.
They hide what they really are, but you can feel it in the culture. Like, nobody's talking about anything, and when they do talk about something, especially in the comedy sphere, it's because they saw a clip of it online. It's very rare that anyone's tuning into anything.
And it's amazing how fast your brands will build by having that out there and having the content out there and growing it. And again, turning that adverse situation into an opportunity. And for comedians, I think you guys are very intelligent people. I think Sherrod Small says that you have to know things to get comedy, right? To find something funny, you have to know it. And for you guys to write and understand, it takes a lot of knowledge to get up there.
Listen.
Intelligence is a strong word.
I
wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. Yeah.
I think we're observant, but my 9-year-old daughter puts math in front of me. I feel it.
Yeah. I think we're resilient like rats. I think that's a better way to we're survivors.
There's a lot of them in the cities.
And when you come to this club, whoever's on the lineup, that adds to whatever number it is. We're just like rodents that adapt to the environment, and we know how to survive. Because we're used to, from when we start, you got to hustle and find your own shows. Start a show at a bar on an off night, or go to open mics, and then that continues for certain comics who have that sort of grind mentality. It continued from your what you were seeking to do live. Now you do that same thing online.
It takes a lot of courage to go out there, believe in yourself, and keep on doing that and going out there. It's like building a brand. Like the Glenn Rothfuss, the reason why we're talking about adversity, before the distillery even went up, there was a fire that burned the place down, right?
Wow.
It went through 2 different fires. There was an explosion there. Like, this brand did not want to be with what was happening, but the community around them built them back up, and the passion to create this style of whiskey is what brought them forward. And when you're facing that, you're like, maybe the second fire was a sign. Maybe the explosion was a sign, but you persevere and you keep on going through.
You sure it wasn't done for the insurance money?
Yeah. It sounds a little.
It was in the late 1800s, so I didn't know.
All right.
But we'll see. I'll go for a deeper dive on that. I'll get back to you. But no, it's cool, like, because you guys are building your own personal brand. And in this room, what the people in this room are here to do is build multiple brands. So Empire Merchants, the distributor in the room, they build several different brands, and they see every which way. And if it's not for someone that has a certain passion behind it, that wants to do it. And actually, we spoke about passion, right? Like, I wanted a shadow box after I spoke with you last week. Like, you were fired up talking about your podcast and your growth. It takes a special type of passion to get out there.
I think it's like I don't know. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. Like, we got kids. Like, what's the alternative? Like, you know what I mean? I love doing what I do, but you gotta work, man. You gotta work.
I think it's you gotta accept the climate. You got to accept the change. You got to see the adversity as an opportunity. And there's sort of 2 classes of comics that have emerged. Ones that haven't and ones that have.
Yeah.
Ones who've seen the change. Because we're perfect examples, because we came up in the old system. Like, the system we came up in doesn't exist anymore, but that's the one we were kind of conditioned for. So it's really us who should be dead, but we adapted, and there's still a lot of guys who are still caught in that old mentality, which is completely gone. It's just it just doesn't exist anymore. And so it shows you how important it is to see adversity as an opportunity or die, really. Yeah.
And it caters to the creative mind, because this room, salespeople, right? They don't have the patience to sit back. When the bars are taken away and you're a commission-based employee, you got to go out there and do something. And that's where the birth of this came from. We wanted to do something to bring notoriety to our brand. We can't build a brand in the bars. We're trying to build it in the off-premise. Now you're going off and you're building it on social media, because that's the only thing that's there. And that's where you're striving. And that's why we're doing this in front of a live room on social media for people to see. And that's where you guys strive, and you guys crushed it. Yeah. So where was I mean, obviously you've been doing podcasts for a long time, but your latest establishment is really fun, right? It's really cool, and you're putting a different side into educating people about what's going on in the world. So where did your passion and creativity come from based off of that?
Well, it's necessity is the mother of invention. So that's I'm not going to lie and say it was anything other than that. It's like, oh, this is what you have to do. And it's great. I mean, for comedy, if you embrace what it is now, because when you do comedy on television, I don't know if anyone's been paying attention, but it's very censored. You know, there's an agenda you have to fulfill, and that's what they're marketing. That's the message now of comedy, is like, this has to be on the right side of whatever everything is. And for comedy, that's sort of a comedy killer, because what comedians do is poke bears and try to be contrarian, you know? Yeah. You can't go up there and say, like, hey, guys, you know, we're against hate. That's not funny, you know? What's funny is going like, hey, guys, this is why hate is great. And then people go, uh-oh, and then you have jokes. So the podcasts are really filling that void where you can be funny. You can really try to still make jokes, whereas you can, and I think that's why so many people are turning to podcasts, is because they want to hear comedians being irresponsible. That's our job.
It's fun to be irresponsible.
That's our job. I mean, when people go, you're complaining, they go, oh, I'm upset about what a comedian said. It's like, you're upset at me doing my job? Yeah. I'm not supposed to say a speech. I don't work for a company. There's a social contract you sign, you know, when you come into a comedy club. It's like, I'm here to hear some offensive stuff. I may not like everything I hear, and it's the same thing that has carried over to podcasts now. It's like, you don't have to tune in, but you can. This is a place where you can still come and hear something that may be off, quote unquote, message, you know, or whatever. I've
been coming to the stand for a long time. We met you downstairs when the sink was still going in on the opening, I believe, and we had the Brugal thing down there.
Right. I didn't know Steve Renazzisi worked for the company.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
He looks like a comic.
Yeah. Caught me off guard.
Sorry about that.
Loved it. But yeah, I was going to say, I've never met an HR department in a comedy club. You know, it's right. a little different. But it's when you look at the landscape of building brands as well, when you stay vanilla, you don't stand out. You know, when you try to go out and you do something different, that's what makes you stand out. You know, like, and that creative edge of allowing you to do what you believe in and talk freely and be like, you know what, I find this funny, so I'm going to say it. It's the same with building a brand. Like, if you could talk about distillation all you want, sugar plus yeast equals alcohol. It's very simple, right? A lot of people do it. Yeah. Right? I say there's no such thing as bad whiskey. There's some whiskey that's just much better than others because
I've had some bad whiskey, dude. I've had some shitty whiskey before.
All whiskey will serve its purpose, though, if you're trying to get to where you need to be. Right. But with that, the whiskeys that stand out are the people that do it right. But no, what I'm saying is that the brands that stick out, that do it the right way, that do it with passion, that do it with creativity, are the ones that people are going to go to. And I think that's the same with comedians. People are going to be drawn to the comedians that might be a little controversial. But if we say something that might be a little inappropriate at work, I got to say I'm joking. Your entire job is a joke. You don't got to say you're joking. You should know that it's a joke.
Well, that's what our job is to do. Like, nobody wants to. I don't think somebody wants to pay to see a comedy show and just hear like, you know, just right down the middle, easy. You know what I mean? You want to, the people that I would want to see are people that, let's see what their perspective is, because I know it's going to be not the norm, and it's going to be hilarious, and it's going to be maybe even dangerous and something that they could get in trouble for, but that's the point of it. And I think what Yannis was saying is if you had somebody like me, Yannis, and a few other comedian friends on a podcast, you know what you're going to get. You're just going to get it, where in stand-up, some people are backing off because of things have tightened up a little bit.
No, and what you're saying, is
Bringing meatballs out?
Yeah.
Jesus. There goes this podcast. Yeah, thanks, guys. It was nice seeing you. Enjoy the pizza and the meatballs. Jesus Christ, I'm competing with meatballs, whiskey, and pizza. What, are they going to get massage girls in here afterward? Jesus Christ.
That's at 6:45.
Holy shit. I smell the sauce. I stopped caring. You guys enjoy the rest of the show. I'm going to get a couple of balls. Jesus. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think the evidence for that is in how popular podcasts have gotten. Is that people want to hear, some people be passionate about their craft, and that's where you can do it, is on podcasts. You can do it live and you can do it on podcasts. And so that's why they're so big. And they are big. They've gotten really big. I mean, Joe Rogan's deal is a deal that only Seinfeld used to get for a television show. He's getting TV money now, and that's a podcast. Nobody in TV is making that money anymore, and so that kind of symbolized the shift when that deal hit and people read about it. But before that, Bill Simmons got $100 million. The Call Me Daddy girls just got 60. I mean, that used to be TV money. Yeah, you can't make that money on TV anymore, and it's because people are hungry for that type of content where it's authentic. It feels authentic and it feels like it's true to what the genre is, whereas what they're seeing on TV seems antiquated. It's sort of like when you watch a Roseanne set or even like a Seinfeld, whatever, an old TV set on Carson. At the time, if you watched it at the time, you're like, this is amazing. But then after cable came and sort of broke that wall a little bit, people started seeing Def Comedy Jam and even Comedy Central. You go back and you watch those old sets and you're like, that seemed contrived. Because it was, but we were conditioned to it, so we thought it was like the edgy thing at the time. Now the internet has done that to cable, where it's like it's broken down even another wall and made it, and comedians feel even more genuine because we're not even doing bits, we're riffing, we're being ourselves, and so now people are getting conditioned to that. And it right now I think is actually the purest form of comedy for comedians, and it's actually ironically the best time to be a comedian. Because of if you want to
revenue for
and also different stream, but also just to do comedy. You there's no boss, like you said.
Yeah.
Like if I was doing a show even on an edgy network, I still have HR. I still have to work within some confines. Whereas on your own podcast, you can say anything. Anything can happen. I have no boss. I can't be fired. And cancel culture is a thing, and it makes comedy funner. And it's that same thing about adversity bringing out the best or creating opportunity. It makes comedy fun again when you could get in trouble for something. That's, I mean...
That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
Class clowns weren't class clowns because they said the right thing at the right time,
Yeah.
It's like, so this is the best time to be a comedian, even though it's the hardest time to be a comedian because they're looking to take away
But that makes the better ones go.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And you share a podcast with the uncancelable Bill Burr.
I do two podcasts. I do one myself. I co-host one with Bill Burr, and we just have fun, and it's just we're ourselves, and we just say what we want to say, and that and it makes you actually a better stand-up. Because when, like what Yannis was saying, when you could just be free and say what you want to say, and you're doing that on a podcast, then when you're on stage, you don't want to feel contrived or you want to just say, fuck what I'm going to say. I'm just going to go out and say what I feel. So podcasts, there's no doubt about it. And this was way before pandemic, pre-pandemic. I remember when I first started doing the Virzi Effect podcast, Bill Burr actually said to me, he goes, watch how much better your stand-up gets. And it was just because you're just talking and you're working that muscle. Then you put friends next to you, and now you're really going. Then when you go on stage, you don't want to just get up and say something that's safe or easy, or you want to just go up and just be yourself. And I think that the digital world has really helped that for sure.
And I think the sense of community inside of your guys' community with comics, it's like follow that. If you get off the stage and you just kill it, it's very difficult to go on top of somebody, right? And like, oh wow, like they just crushed it. You got to raise your game up to ensure that you get laughs after someone just crushed it on stage.
Well, Yannis said something before, which is true. It's like Yannis and I came up in a time where you had to be doing stand-up for 15 years before Comedy Central gave you a half hour. You had to be doing it for over a decade. Now, and we were fighting that and going through that, and then the change came. Now you can have somebody that has a TikTok channel blow up, and they're cooking and laughing and singing, and they're filling up comedy clubs. So I think that the podcast helps us. I think we have the advantage because, like he said earlier, we adapted to that, and we do our craft.
You know what it is really, and it's happened in all fields. I'm sure it's your field too. Decentralization is over. Everything like used to be a cruise ship, and now people are in speedboats. And sometimes those speedboats become like diamond-studded speedboats. You know, like if you look at the Rogan example. But this is the era of the small brand. Like that's what people are looking for. They want to discover something and become a fan of something. And that's why like fame is over.
Yeah.
Like there's no consolidated fame. There's like everyone's a band and everyone has their following. And that's what the new norm is.
Yeah, like that's a good point. Like we're in a time in entertainment now, in comedy, where there are people that are selling out Madison Square Garden that you guys don't know.
Yeah.
It used to be if that person sold out Madison Square Garden, like Andrew Dice Clay back in the day, he sold out the Garden. Everybody knew who Andrew Dice Clay was.
Unless you went to church,
Well, even those people, they hated him, but they knew him.
Yeah, they knew he was.
Now you can get people that just have a big podcast or a big stand-up following, but not everybody knows because they're like famous in that realm, right? In like little pockets, like you said, it's true.
Yeah, it shows the benefits of being true to your brand. And as a brand yourself, as a stand-up comedian, similar to the Glenn Rothis. Glenn Rothis isn't good because it's old. It's good because it stayed good.
Right.
And they stayed true to it. And it's staying true to its creativity and its basis behind it. And we're going to show you who we are. We're not going to try to be somebody else. This is who the Glenn Rothis is. And that's why we want to link up with professions such as stand-up comedians, with haberdashers, with people that go out and they specialize in creative watches and antique watches for a living, you know? Because authenticity is key. And smaller brands are 1,000% authentic. And once you guys are on your podcast and on stage, that authenticity drives through.
Yeah, and I think you have to think outside the box in marketing too. I think accepting that milieu that like people are fans in smaller numbers now and everything's decentralized, you want to kind of attach yourself to somebody who has a podcast or something or a band or something like that and win over their fans. Let your brand be affiliated with what they do. You know, it doesn't seem like there's that big reach anymore. You know, like it even almost turns people off when something's too big. It's like they want to, there's that discovery factor. People want to be a part of it, a part of the community of it.
It's that true hipster culture, right?
It really
has.
has.
You haven't heard about this band. They're too cool.
That's why everybody has their show on one of the streaming services, and there's all those different things. People discover something and they like it. It's, you know, movies are over, big star, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how did you guys discover comedy? You guys have a passion and love for comedy. Where did it stem from for you guys?
It comes from not being good at other stuff. Truly. Like, it's like not even being good at listening, not being good at anything, really, except making people laugh. Like, I just always made people laugh. I was the class clown. It was, like, the only thing I could do. And so I found out I could turn it into a profession, and I was like, all right, if I don't do that, I don't know what I'm going to do. So
yeah,
could have been sales, too. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of class clowns in this room.
Probably
well.
not.
I would definitely be doing sales if I was. I think for me, it was instability at home. You know, I came from my parents had like a brutal fucking divorce in the early 80s. I was 5. I was moving around a lot, but I had like a personality where people would like me telling stories. And then I saw Eddie Murphy Raw, and it was a wrap. That was it. Eddie Murphy Raw. My dad took me to see it in 1987. My grandmother and mother said, you cannot take him to that. He took me, and I was just like, that's it, man. That was it. So
that's a great first introduction.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think you said storytelling. I think our industry is all about storytelling. We're trying to deliver and tell our brand story to people. And it's more than a sales pitch, right? It's actual storytelling. And I don't think that comedians anymore are doing the pitch. Like you said, it's a script. You have to get your point across if you're on TV. But if you're on a podcast, you could say exactly what it is that you want.
Yeah, and a lot of the brands, like, look, comedians on podcasts make a lot of money. A lot of people don't know that. But, like, they're making a lot of money. And they're making a lot of money with ads. And the advertisers, the brands actually want you to incorporate their brand into your voice. They prefer that. They don't want you to read the copy and just have the name be heard of the brand. They want you to have fun with the ad, make fun of it even. Like that, they want you to continue the show, not stop the show, and incorporate the brand into what you do to win over the fans that love what you do.
I remember my first stand-up comedy that I remember was the skit Epi Epiment, right? That was, what was the...
Which one is it?
Epi Epiment. It was a comic that had all these different things, and he had this one shtick that was Epi Epiment. He's from New York. He's a New York guy. I can't...
Okay, I don't know.
I have it written. I have it written down somewhere. He had another thing. He was a boxer, and he would yell out Jeff because he got hit in the head too many times.
Oh, you're talking about what's his
from
name?
Long Island.
No, yeah, he used to open for Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
He was
Yes.
a lawyer too.
Yeah.
What was his name? Oh my God, dude.
I have it written down. There's way
Yeah.
too many sheets of paper in here that I thought
And
would
he,
be
yeah,
successful.
he did the football players, and he
Yes.
put the balloons in his thing.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to stand-up comedy. So yours was obviously Eddie Murphy. So that's a big one.
Well, you know what? I saw him open for Dangerfield at. I'm pretty sure he opened for Dangerfield. My dad also took me to Radio City to see Dangerfield in '86, and I was like sleeping by the end of it. But he came out. Bob Nelson.
Bob
Nelson.
Nelson. Yes, that
Yes.
was going to kill me. It was somewhere in there.
He's in Long Island, I think.
Yeah, he
He's
was like a
still doing
lawyer
it.
in Long Island.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
He's still doing comedy.
Is he really?
Yeah.
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 But what was your first introduction to stand-up? What was the first stand-up that you remember?
Yeah, my first was Eddie Murphy, like
Yeah.
most people, because it was in the movie theaters. So at that time,
And it was only him. At
yeah,
that,
it was
like,
him, and
it
like that was my first introduction to what stand-up was, And there was no way to know about stand-up unless you went live and saw it. Like you would see, and I guess it was like those 5-minute sets on late night television. But like for example, I didn't even know when I was coming up that Robin Williams was a stand-up. I thought he was an actor.
Yep.
I didn't know he started as a stand-up. I didn't know. If you want to go back to your day, I didn't know Jackie Gleason was a stand-up. He started
The fake Rodney Dangerfield.
To
My
your
day.
day.
That's fantastic.
because stand-up just wasn't on television. It wasn't anywhere you could see it besides live. So unless you were old enough to go to a nightclub or whatever.
And that was another way that stand-up comedy faced adversity when HBO started doing specials, right? Like everyone, like Comedy Central was out, HBO specials were out. I could watch comedy on TV. Why do I have to go and pay money to go to a club, right?
Yeah.
And it's wild how some people became successful, and then the people that are trying to go to where they wanted to be, like, oh, well, they made it big. What do I got to do? How do I get a special, right?
Yeah.
And again, just like going back to that adversity road, you guys always seem to come on back. It's so cool. And again, we had Mr. Joe DeRosa in the house as well, talking about
Hey, what's up,
people
Joe?
that do different things for comedians.
I mean, nobody's adapted better than him. He got out of the business and opened a sandwich shop. That's what you got to do. I'm joking. It's called a joke. Jesus Christ. No, you're not. You weren't hired for this gig.
Nothing's going to put this crowd to sleep faster. If it's not the meatballs, it's Yannis pontificating on why podcasts have changed the face of humanity. Jesus Christ, Yannis. You guys are on fucking recording yourselves on Sony tape recorders, talking about your dicks. He's acting like they're splitting fucking atoms. Oh, you see, when we got into podcasting, we saw a new frontier. No, but you're right. TV does suck now.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Joey Roses, everybody. Give him a round of
Yeah.
applause. Give him a round.
Who the fuck are you? Now I'm going to sit here.
It's talking about adaptability as well. Like you said, open up an amazing sandwich shop that started here, right? It was a pop-up sandwich shop, and now you're down on Rivington Street in the Lower East Side serving some really good sandwiches. The muffaletta, thank you for putting that on finally.
The beautiful thing about anything now, I don't think it's just stand-up. I think it's almost any sort of... Stand-up is essentially a startup, right? You're going into business for yourself. It's a mom and pop. That's what it is. I think the beauty of everything right now is with all the rotten crap that came along with the internet, the one beautiful thing the internet did is allowed everybody to pursue an entrepreneurial endeavor on their own. It allowed you to monetize what it is you do from your house. You don't need a brick and mortar store anymore. You don't need a comedy club. You don't need anything. You just need to be able to deliver something that people want and put a price tag on it. And that's the great thing. And when Yannis was talking about that, I really agreed because it was like, it's beautiful now to say to your manager or your agent or a comedy club, no. We didn't have that option before. You couldn't say no. You had to do everything because, God forbid, you pissed off this guy at this club in Toledo because he owns that club in Virginia, and then that's connected to the place in Florida. And it was a chain of domino. You weren't burning one bridge. You were burning 6. And the fact that now I know if at any moment I don't want to go on the road, for instance, and do a comedy club, the only thing stopping me from saying no is my fans that want to see me. I don't want to let the people go that might come out to the show because I care about those 6 to 8 people. But do you know what I mean? There's no more of I need to be honoring the person and da-da-da. Because no matter how good of friends you are with any of them, they'll shove you aside the second Chris Rock or Chappelle or whoever, and that's nothing against anybody, says, I want to come in and do shows. They're not going to hesitate to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, tough shit. I know we had you this weekend. You can't come in anymore. They don't care. Because it's a business, and what the internet allowed was for the business to be put into the hands of the individuals. And they don't know what to do now. When I say they, I just mean the industries of all types. They don't know what to do. They're scrambling because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, they're trying to grab onto something because the eyeballs just aren't there. So I think that if they grab like it's actually a brilliant ploy. It's like if you want to be a good person, you'll watch this. So it's like, and if you listen to that, coincidentally, the thing that threatens their business model, then you're a bad person.
Yeah, but it's also because this generation coming up is weaker now. They're fucking weak and they're afraid and they're scared. That's really what it is. They're scared. They're told what to do. They're told what to be offended by instead of thinking for themselves. And the networks are bowing to that. You know, watch late night TV now. It's like a joke. They're playing like games and shit. It's like so vanilla. It's kind
it looks
of
like the Jimmy Fallon writer's room is like a kindergarten with crayons, where they're going, how about we smash eggs on each other?
And also, too, if I, just to plug the sandwich shop, Joey Rose's, Rivington Street. Now, come down. It's a good spot. Full bar. We're open late.
And he also still does comedy.
Yeah, and
he still
but here's the thing. That would have been a death sentence 5 years ago.
Right.
That would have been, you guys were talking about Bob Nelson. By the way, he lives in the Midwest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Long Island's the Midwest.
I'm not shitting on him. He's born again Christian. He still does comedy. But my point is that would have been a death sentence. People would have been like, you what? You opened a shop? You're done. And now it's like people that I used to be in fear or call me and go, oh my God, that's so cool that you did that. Because they see the writing on the wall. They start
Very
seeing
true.
like, you guys don't need us anymore. I've been in pitch meetings where I've said to executives, and you never could say this until now, why do I need you? I don't mean that disrespectfully. Why do I need you? I could go raise the money on my own and shoot this myself. And they're dead. They stop
Thank
in
you.
their tracks. They don't know what to say. But everybody, we're applying it to stand-up and entertainment because that's what we do. Everybody has that ability. You have that ability now with what you guys are doing with Wyoming. You know what I mean? Could you imagine trying to launch a brand like this in the 90s? You think in the 90s, any fucking schmuck in a movie could have had his own tequila? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, you couldn't do it. You can do it now. You
Yeah.
can do it now. It's incredible to me that Ron White has his own tequila company.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me.
There's a lot of tequila in this.
Yeah.
So
Cheers,
I believe
everybody,
this,
salute. Enjoy everything that you're eating.
Yeah.
I believe
This is
the
yours,
Glen-
right?
The Glenrothes 18.
I'll be honest with you guys.
This shit just turned into a full-fledged like Italian buffet.
Yeah,
This fucking-
salud. Let me be honest. This is really good.
This is
This is
The
good.
Glenrothes 18.
Yeah, no, this is good. Yeah, I'm not lying. You're not paying me, so I would have told
Wow,
you.
that is really nice. That is really nice.
This is really good.
That tips down the stairs in a sock.
Yeah, that's what you want with a whiskey. You want it to,
Oof.
I call it, you want it tiptoeing down the stairs when it goes down the gullet. You want it, no burn. You want it just a nice, smooth, it's almost like you're sneaking downstairs in socks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
like
one,
this.
this has socks on.
This is nice.
I think that should be our new brand plan. It's got socks on.
It's got socks on when it goes down the stairs.
That's fantastic.
This is really good.
This is nice.
Yeah, you guys got a shot.
And we haven't even started yet. We get some of this in here. Let's see what happens now. But no, it's, again, what you guys do and the way that you guys are able to catapult our brands. This space has become an absolute monster. Paul, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Adele. Thank you for the whole crew at the stand.
Yes.
It's been such an amazing place. And what we're trying to do, not only with our whiskeys, but when people do come here, give them something proper to have when they're enjoying a great show, but put butts in the seats, right? And that's what the Casket Classics has become. there's not many places that have a draw like the three of you that will bring fans in to sit at the space. Hospitality has gone through a very rough time, and it's been the flatten the curve for 2 weeks, and here we are 2 years later, and people are still trying to get people to come to our venue. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring people in, and with the program that Paul has developed with his cocktails, the amount of whiskeys that are on that back bar, as well as the amount of talent that he gets to come in through the doors, you three and so many other people. It's appreciated. It's appreciated people that sell alcohol that are able to have a platform like this to get our stuff moving, and that's how brands get built.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't like performing anywhere, and I won't besides here now. Like now that, it used to be like Joe was saying, you had to perform in all these places. Now I go into that place and I'm like, I know what you're making. I know how much money you're making. Do a renovation. Do a renovation. This is a big business. You guys are making a lot of money. Change the carpet.
Yeah, it's hard to come in here and see this beautiful atmosphere and eat fucking
This
rice
is-
balls and then go to some shitty dive bar.
Yeah,
Tell
I mean-
dick jokes.
It's like, this is what it should look like. The amount of money comedy makes, this is what a club should look like. It should be beautiful like this.
Yeah.
There should be whiskey. There should be beautiful women who, are serving alcohol.
I like a grimy. I love this club. It's my favorite club in the city, and there's a couple spots I'll play in the city. But these guys, look, I'm partners with Paul. Paul and I own Joey Rose's 174 Rivington Street.
With that, I guess it's time to wrap this one up. But greatly appreciate
This
you
was
guys
fun.
coming on.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed chatting with you guys. Went off the rails a little bit with the history, but we got it going. But what you guys do to build your own brand. I'm a subscriber to both of your podcasts, everything that you've done. Big fans. But hopefully nothing but success for you guys and continue.
Thank you. And to you guys.
Likewise, and to you guys.
To you guys.
And thank you for
Continued
sitting
success.
through this,
Yeah.
guys. Appreciate you.